Once seen as trendy, affordable, and impossible to ignore, fast fashion is facing a global reckoning. Across Europe, Asia, and even parts of the United States, shoppers are turning their backs on the $100 billion industry. Why? Because they've seen the labels, they've watched the documentaries, they've read the reports, and they're starting to ask, turns out, it's not just a few dollars. It's environmental destruction, it's factory fires, it's unpaid labor, and now a movement is gaining steam to slow it all down. Oak. In the wake of the tragic Rana Plaza collapse, which killed over 1,100 garment workers, the world briefly paid attention. But only briefly. Fast fashion giants apologized, promised reform, pledged better oversight, and then back to business as usual. But a decade later, consumers haven't forgotten. Oak. A small boutique in Camden proudly displays a sign. No sweatshops, no compromise. Inside, there's no H&M, no Shein, no Zara, only upcycled clothes and local brands with transparent supply chains. And this isn't an isolated trend. In cities from Copenhagen to Seoul, thrift stores, vintage markets, and ethical brands are booming. The hashtags say it all. Now slow fashion, no more sweatshops, not true cost revolution. Oak. Instagram influencers once built careers on fast fashion hauls, 20 pieces for $200. Now, many of them are facing backlash. Comments like, do you care who made those clothes? How much water was wasted on that haul? Do better. And some are listening. Micro-influencers are leading the charge, hosting no new clothes challenges, styling second-hand outfits, and promoting garment repair over replacements. Aesthetics have shifted. Minimalism, authenticity, sustainability. These are the new fashion statements. Oak. Earlier this year, the French government passed a groundbreaking bill. Brands that import more than 10,000 garments a year must now label each item with its environmental impact. Carbon emissions, water usage, labor conditions, all on the tag. Retailers who can't comply, fined. Clothing companies that pass the bar, rewarded with tax breaks and government promotion. It's the first law of its kind, but other countries are watching, and some are already drafting their own. Oak. Canada's largest online retailer recently announced it would delist all brands failing to meet new transparency guidelines by 2026. That means no more anonymous supply chains. No more generic made in Asia labels with no further details. If a shirt can't be traced back to a verified ethical producer, it won't be sold. Consumer pressure played a big role. According to a recent survey, 78% of Canadians said they were willing to pay more for clothes that are fair trade or sustainably made. That's up from just 39% 5 years ago. Fast fashion brands are scrambling. Some are launching conscious collections. Others are pouring millions into greenwashing campaigns. A few are genuinely trying, cutting production, sourcing organic cotton, and raising wages. But critics say it's not enough, that the business model itself is broken. Because how can a company produce 20,000 new items a day, sell them for pennies, and still claim to be ethical? Spoiler, it can't. Globally, the fashion industry accounts for 10% of carbon emissions. It uses more water than any other industry except agriculture, and it's responsible for 20% of global wastewater. The waste is just as staggering. In Ghana, mountains of discarded Western clothing are choking rivers. In Chile's Atacama Desert, piles of unsold garments are visible from space. This isn't just a fashion problem, it's a climate problem. And Gen Z knows it. They're skipping the malls, ignoring the sales, and building wardrobes from local thrift shops, Depop sellers, and swap meets. Activists line the runway with signs that read, "No fashion on a dead planet. Luxury isn't worth lives. Even high fashion isn't immune." Designers are being called out. Runways are being interrupted. And sustainability has become the buzziest word in couture. But for activists, it's not about trends, it's about survival. One ethical brand CEO put it this way: "We're not anti-fashion. We're anti-exploitation. We love clothes. But we love the people who make them more." So where does this leave fast fashion? Caught between a generation that demands change and a business model that resists it. Some brands will adapt, others won't survive. But one thing's clear. Consumer behavior is shifting, and it's not just about style anymore. What we wear is becoming a declaration, a statement, a choice. Because sometimes the most powerful protest isn't in the streets. It's in the closet. Thanks for watching. For more updates, news hits the like, share and subscribe button, and don't forget to press the bell.